Welcome back Year 11. We're here with your final video for your final paper in your English GCSEs. This video is for English Language Paper 2, that is Writers, Viewpoints and Perspectives, otherwise known as the non-fiction paper. You're going to read 2 non-fiction texts, complete your reading questions and then write your own non-fiction text, usually a speech or an article, maybe a blog or a letter. This exam will be on Monday the 8th of June 2018. You will have 1 hour 45 minutes for this exam, 2 hours if you're someone with extra time. As always, I write the timings on the front of my exam sheet to keep me focused in the exam. In this one, you read source A and you have 8 minutes to do that. Then you complete question 1, 4 minutes. Then, confusingly, you complete question 3, you've got 12 minutes for that. Then you read text B, another 8 minutes. Move on and do question 2, 12 minutes. Question 4, 14 minutes. And then your writing section, 45 minutes or 50 minutes if you have extra time. Okay, so the first thing we do is read text A. You will recognise this in your PPE exam. We need you to read about the text, where it comes from, and then read the whole article. And don't forget, as we read, we make our summary notes in the margin. So for example, this first paragraph is about his son is turning 1. The second paragraph shows shock at how the sun is growing up so quickly. Once you've read source A and you've made your notes, you go on to question 1. It starts easy, and this is your true or false question. You use source A from lines 1 to 17, so I always box that off. And you shade in the 4 statements which are true. They go in chronological order. So you read the statement as you read the text, and when you come across a true statement, you shade in the circle in the box. That should be 4 nice easy marks for all of us. You then skip to question 3, which is our language analysis question. This question says we need to use source A from line 18 to 28. So now I box off my new area. And it is asking me, how does the writer use language to describe his son? As always, I'm highlighting the keywords in my question. How does he use language focus, to describe his son? I then go back into source A, into my text, and I'm finding weighty quotes that the writers used. So, he was a sleepy ball of scrunched up flesh. That's lovely imagery here, the little baby. And I've got other interesting language. He barks gibberish. He throws his entire body into it like he's trying to shove noise up a hill. Nice simile. And also here I'm spotting almost a lexical group of how fast time is travelling as he grows up. Once I've chosen my weighty quotes, you write up your answer. We're looking for a good old square paragraph with a statement. He describes his son as outgoing, and then a quote, and then analyse that quote using your subject term and commenting on the effect on the reader. Then another quote, then another analysis. For this question, we're looking to do 2, maybe 3 paragraphs, as this is a 12-mark question. Okay, once you're done with question 3, we move on. We read source B. This one's a bit trickier because it's our 19th century text. We're told it's from a newspaper article. the writer is exploring how she feels now her son is grown up. Once again, you have another 8 minutes to read the text. As you go along, you're making your notes on your margin. So here it begins with description of the son. As you go through, you're making your notes. Always take your time with reading so that you don't miss any key points. Then we always remember to go back to question 2, the first of our comparative questions. This question says, refer to source A and B. The way the boys spend their time playing as young children is different. Use details from both sources to write a summary of the different activities the boy in source A enjoys and the boy in source B enjoyed when he was young. So we're looking at differences today. We need to write a summary, and you've been practicing them skills in class. And the key bit here is what's different about the activities that the boys enjoyed as they were young. For me, this is a tricky question because a 1-year-old doesn't really take part in many activities, but we'll go with it. Now, the easiest way to do this is to summarise source A, or more specifically, the activities the boy does in source A. So you're going to back into your text and you're finding that he switches off the television, or you're finding that he runs up to people, or you're finding that he sleeps, you're finding that he eats his porridge very slowly, all things 1-year-olds do. Then we need a discourse marker to connect to source B. As it's a difference, I would go with in contrast, and then you summarise source B. And this one might well go on to the next page. Now again, you're using your focus of the question, so you are looking for the activities that the boy does in source B. Now he's a little bit older, this boy, so he plays with toys. So you've got evidence here, he plays with pop guns, bow and arrow, whips, go-karts. You can see that he likes drums, trumpets. He likes making more noise than the boy in source A. We summarise the text to show our understanding. Now, once you've finished with question 2, you move on. Question 4. We know this as our tone question. We need to refer to the whole of source A and the whole of source B. We are being asked to compare how the writers convey their different perspectives and feelings about their child growing up. In your answer, you could compare the different perspectives and feelings, compare the methods the writer uses to convey their different perspectives and feelings, and support your response with references to the text. So we are comparing. We are looking for what's similar, we are looking for what's different. We are thinking about their different perspectives and feelings. This is our tone words. And it's about their children growing up. We need to look at the differences. And this is a key point. For question 4, they are expecting you to analyse the methods that the writer uses to convey their perspective feelings. So here you're going to need subject terms for their methods. Also, support it with references, posh way of saying you quote in your answer. Now, to write up, you're going to need to use a well-loved squall formula. You have a statement, comparative statement, then a quote, then your analysis, which always uses subject terms and thinks about the effect on the reader, and then we're going to link to source B. You need a quote from source B, analysis of that quote, and then it's nice to link to the question. This is worth 16 marks. You've got 14 minutes to spend on this, so I would hope that you could get at least 2 comparative paragraphs, ideally 3 comparative paragraphs. Don't forget you are comparing the tone. So in source A, there's a feeling of shock, but acceptance that the sun's growing up so quickly. But in source B, it's slightly different. It's almost a sense of regret that the child has grown up and left home and maybe she wasn't the mother she hoped to be. Once you finish with question 4, you move on to question 5, your final question on your final English GCSE paper. This is just like question 5 in English Language Paper 1. So they advise that you spend 45 minutes on this section. They remind you to write in full sentences. They remind you need to plan your answer. And they remind you to check your work at the end. That's because there are 24 marks available for content and organisation and 16 marks available for your technical accuracy, equaling 40 marks of the paper. There will usually be a statement. So today's one is, parents today are overprotective. They should let their child take part in adventurous, even risky activities to prepare them for later life. Write an article for a broadsheet newspaper in which you argue for or against this statement. Let's get our key words. Parents today are overprotective. They should let children take part in adventurous, even risky activities, and that will prepare them for later life. Write an article for a broadsheet newspaper arguing for or against the statement. Now already I might annotate here my examples of risky, adventurous activities. I might annotate here things that kids need to be prepared for in later life. The first thing we do is tap or pat the question. So T is the text type, A, the audience, P, your purpose. Text type is here, it is an article for a broadsheet newspaper. We write formally whatever we're asked to write in this exam. My audience isn't specified, so don't forget it's always for Mr. and Mrs. Examiner, and I guess newspaper readers to an extent as well. Our purpose is listed here, is to argue. So you're already thinking, what have you learned about structuring and building up a good argument? Now, AQA are genuinely asking for your thoughts here. They genuinely want your opinion. You might already know if you're going to be for or against the statement, or you might want to plan out a couple of reasons for and a couple of reasons against. Then choose your strongest argument. Do not sit on the fence. AQA want you to be for or against and write a clear, logical argument in response to the statement. Once you've got your ideas down, you need your paragraph plan. We've practiced this in class. You'll need to link your beginning and your ending, so I would always plan that as well. I like to use We Three Kings. You might like to use Imagine a World. You might like to use another one of our techniques. And then don't forget all the work we did on building your paragraph. So what paragraph types will these be and what ideas will you use in them? You might also want to give yourself a little reminder of the punctuation marks you need to use in any writing piece. Once you've planned your piece, it's time to write. Now, even though they give you loads of paper, what AQA are looking for is just 2 pages of crafted, well-planned writing. So really take your time thinking about your vocabulary, thinking about your sentence craft, thinking about your whole text structure, and write a lovely, developed, thoughtful argument. Once you're finished, you proofread your piece, and then you are done with your English GCSE. Well done, guys. Goodbye.